All right, you guys can see my screen.
Yes.
All right, okay. So thanks, Vijay. Thanks, Agile Waters, for yet another interesting webinar on a very interesting topic. The title of the webinar would have told you that we are living in tough times, and how do we go carry our lives, go through our lives during these turbulent times. So we often, in our jargon, in our language, we use the term VUCA, to designate the kind of situation that is all around us, right? So I'm going to talk about a resilience, a very key attribute of our being ourselves. It sets us apart, and this particular attribute helps us to manage any kind of situation. So I'm going to talk about resilience, the art of navigating through the rough and flourishing. So if you could see the picture here, it tells in as many words, what it's trying to depict, that a wonderful flower is flourishing on the dry soil where there's very less likelihood of any kind of a growth, right? But yet this fledgling small flower is able to sprout itself up and then, kind of flourishing. So let's see what resilience is about. I'll just skip this my introduction because I think we've got a lot of familiarity here in terms of the people we have been seeing, the regular attendees. So what are we going to discuss today? What is resilience in general? And when we talk about resilience, we also talk about people who, have some people we see that they are highly resilient. Some people we see they are not as resilient. So how do we identify who are these resilient people? And when we say that there are certain people who are more resilient, obviously there are certain attributes which stand them apart from the rest of the crowd. So what are those attributes that are common in resilient people? We're going to talk about that. And what are some of those capabilities, for building resilience? Even though one may not be naturally resilient, but then we can always make up our capabilities that help us be resilient. Resilience also is more about in the mind, in the mindset. So how we can shape up our mind, shape up our thought processes, which help us build right kind of perspective, and with that we will be able to manage the situation, right? So we will talk about those capabilities. And I'm also going to talk about how we can build a resilience through brain power. So ultimately it is all about mindset, and we talk about mindset, we talk about brain, we talk about thought processes, we often refer to consciousness, how we can be conscious and raise the level of awareness, and then be very objective about the situation and try to manage the situation, the adverse situation particularly. So resilience has to do with kind of adversity and our ability to come out of that adverse situation. And I'm going to talk about growth mindset model. This is a very popular topic. Whenever we talk about resilience capabilities, we talk about growth mindset. This is going to be a reference from Carol Dweck, who is a acclaimed authority on this particular topic, very popular professor and psychologist at Stanford University. And after that, we'll just conclude the session for today. And we'll try to keep it interactive. This is not something that we're going to go very, very deep into psychology. We'll just try to keep it at a level where, in a very general parlance, common man's language or layman's language, as we say, we are able to talk about it. So let's go further into the session. So what is resilience, right? Before I'd like, enable few definitions. So can anyone tell me what is your understanding of resilience? How do you see resilience? How do you define resilience? Anyone?
Is
The
it like
ability to bounce back.
go ahead.
Ability to bounce back? Yes, wonderful, Margaret. Yeah. So ability to bounce back. It means that you were some position, then you kind of went down. Let's say you kind of you were having a nice trot or a walk, and then you tripped over, and then just got up and started walking again. This is in the physical sense. In the mental sense also, like you could be, you had a bad day, right? Things did not go as planned, and you're not in a really good mood. But then you think you start seeing the things in perspective and say, fine. I mean, this is this too shall pass. We often tell ourselves, right? I mean, this is just momentary, and then we get back. No, we like the way we got up, started walking. We also go about our routine. Right? Thanks for that, Margaret. Shri, you were saying something?
Yeah, Hiren. See, many times it happens, right?
Hmm.
Um, we want to give a great webinar presentation, or even in our
Hmm.
own meeting.
Absolutely.
I prepared so well, and then preparedness, and then suddenly uh, nobody attends, or even if attend, nobody is serious about the meeting,
Hmm.
or somebody will pull me down, and then suddenly how we will come back,
Wonderful
and
example.
not losing the motivation, inspiration,
Hmm.
and then we have to go on.
Yeah.
Some people, as you said rightly, some people are very strong in resilience.
Yeah.
However, people pull you down, you will not get demotivated, you will go on and on.
Yeah.
But some people, if you suddenly see, you expect 40 people in the meeting, only
Hmm.
2 people come in, you get demotivated, and then you feel like, you lose interest.
Absolutely.
So this is what happens many times,
Yes.
Kiran.
Yes.
Thank you.
This is fantastic example. Thank you, Shri. I think this was a really great example. Yeah. So yes,
Thank
there are situations, there are people, which are not favorable, and this is not what you expect, right? And the other thing is that what kind of mindset we have. One thing is for sure that life is it's never like a straight line, right? I mean, we always have some ups or some down. There are some moments when we are ups, there are some moments when we are going down. So, I mean, if we see things in the larger perspective, sorry, when we see the things in larger perspective, we notice that I mean, this is something that can happen anytime, any day. But then, am I going to be in a bad mood and then kind of dwell over it permanently? I mean, I should do something about it. I may ponder over it for a moment. I may do some introspection, and then I just go ahead. I go move forward, right? I mean, forward movement is required. I mean, I cannot just get stuck, fixated at one place, either physically or, sometimes there are some life events you really cannot help to go over it. These things come back to you again and again, like like a flashback movie. So you just need to get out of it and then get going, get moving. And you gave wonderful examples here. So resilience is, as Margaret also reported, that your ability to bounce back, especially from adverse situations. So it's also to cope with the crisis, and it could be anything. It could be crisis. You know, you may be down and out. Might have had some kind of a crisis, in your life, or maybe at the workplace also things are not going so happy. You might be in a very tough project, or you might be in an environment which is getting toxic by the day. There's a lot of bitterment going around, all that stuff, right? And it could be affecting your relationships, personally as well as workplace, or with your business partners, or with your customers, and whatever dimensions are there. So this your ability, your own ability to cope with this, and then your ability to come out of this situation. That's one aspect of resilience. And simply put, the person's ability to respond to and grow after facing adversity or stress. And it also could be a set of various characteristics and attributes like self-control, and how you lean over to the social support. If you are very well networked, if you have those healthy relations, good circle of friends around you, you can always lean on to those external support system, internal support system. Your general mindset, your general outlook. Some people are more optimists than pessimists, and they always see the brighter side of the things, even when the days are dark and gloomy. They always have that, a cloud with a silver lining kind of a mindset. They're optimistic. And some people, they have good sense of humor, and their self belief, and they have self confidence. That uh, occasionally they may not have a click. They may not have been successful. They're maybe in the workplace, the project is not going in the right direction, and when they are in like any other activity, like typically sportsmen, when we see that, not every day is a bright sunny day. So on some days you go out for a duck, but next day you come back, bounce back, and then you score a century. So that all these attributes make up a very resilient mindset and resilient person. And also again, other some set of factors, a combination of factors and attributes that make up a resilient person. And these people, you see, they more or less remain same. They maintain the same degree of resilience throughout the life. I've seen some successful people, right, and those who have been with me right from my school days or college days, and they continue to demonstrate the same degree of resilience. They're very empathetic, they're very compassionate, and yet they do not, see see the life more from a prism of negativity. Like, okay, I've had a bad career track record, or sometimes, we had a very bad patch, rough patch, as we say. It goes on for quite long time, but then you do something about it. You introspect, you determine what is causing this to happen, and then you get out of it. And then when you get out of that, you get more successful, you flourish. Maybe you change your field, or you change your organization, change your job, and then you're back to where you truly belong, right? And the one best example that comes to my mind is this American inventor, Thomas Edison. So whenever I read about this person, I still can't believe that he had the tenacity to go on and on and on despite so many failures. 10,000 experiments before he could finally get on that light incandescent bulb. But you know what? Thomas Edison has got many patents awarded. So that was not his only invention. So he also invented phonograph, telegraph, even motion pictures. And then he has got some lot of patents for all his inventions that he made. But imagine, like, right? I mean, how can you go on? Like, at some point in time, you may give up. You may think, oh, it's not worth. Do I just try one more time? Like, after you had 100 attempts, would you really think to go for your 101st attempt? And this guy had that super resilience, I would say, like 10,000 experiments. And after that, finally, he had it aha moment. So now I think this is what we all know. Any further thing you'd like to add? Like, is there any other dimension of resilience you think that I might have missed here? You would like to bring it up here? Anyone?
Yeah, no, just more examples like
Hmm.
Walt Disney before he started the
Absolutely. Oh,
Disneyland.
yeah,
Yeah, so many people, nobody wanted to give him a bank loan. They're told you're joking. Like, what are you even talking about? So he had to
absolutely.
really, then he got that. And then another example would be Abraham Lincoln.
Abraham
Before
Lincoln,
he
yes.
became the president of America, he had lost all the elections,
Yes.
but then he became the president. So
Yeah.
like,
Oh, there
it's
are
there.
that way, Margaret. There are lots of examples. Another example I would like to share is our superstar, Mr. Amitabh Bachchan. So before he had his big break, he had many so-called routine movies, to his name. He acted in so many films before he finally eventually got a big break
Yeah, no,
with
I
his
do
movie.
agree. I'm not, he was a tremendous actor also, but he came from that family. His wife
Yeah.
was best friends with Jawaharlal Nehru. So he studied in Doon School. He studied in Doon School and
Yes.
Rajiv Gandhi's best friend. So he already
Yeah.
had an edge.
There's a
Unlike
good
otherwise,
connection, right?
Rajesh
Yeah.
Khanna, he won a contest and he was a nobody and he really made a superstar. No, I'm not, I don't want to disagree with you, but these
Yeah. Yeah.
people did have the
No,
edge. Amitabh
Amitabh,
Bachchan did have the edge.
yeah, he was very well connected, and you're right, with the first family of India and all the time. That's definitely, and his father was also
Yeah,
a
he was
big
already,
figure. His father was a great
yeah.
poet
So
and all that.
he was
But
already there.
he was with All India Radio, and then he tried his luck in the film industry, but then he did not get a good break, and nobody
Yeah,
really thought that. Then finally, Mahmood took him and then gave him that break with
yeah.
Bombay to Goa. And then after that, I think then his biggest break. So example is that these people I mean, they could have had other choices, right? But they decided, no, I really
Yeah,
need to dig my heels in and then
yeah.
make something out of,
Yeah, they didn't
uh,
give up. Yeah,
they didn't give
they
up.
didn't
Yeah.
give up.
Yeah. All right, wonderful, great
Kiran,
examples. Yeah, these are really great examples, Margaret. Thanks for sharing.
Kiran,
Yes, Vijay.
Kiran would like to add something. Generally, I don't like too much of superstar examples because they already proven and everybody take their names. So
Hmm.
I generally like people from common,
From other backgrounds.
yeah,
Yes.
common life. Yeah. I definitely feel that Sid must be one of the resilient persons, definitely because he has come through a lot of technologies and I don't know what all changes. And today,
Yes.
after this much of experience, he's doing
Awesome.
agile coaching or being as a scrum master. So I don't know, some people generally bow down to pressure that what I'm doing or
Hmm.
these kids' job or something. I didn't really feel like that. And then he's really doing really great, inspiring all of us. He comes to all our sessions.
Yes.
Yeah,
Wonderful
yeah.
example.
So yeah, one of the examples. One more person I know. I mean, I won't be able to tell the name of that particular person, but this particular person is one of a developer, and then he was going through a lot of rough patches. Everybody in the close circle or the management, wanted him out of their project all the time. They were literally, in fact, thinking of throwing up.
They had kind of lost
Nobody
all
knew.
hope
Yeah,
on it.
exactly. Nobody knew what's actually going on in his life. And then one fine day we got a news that he jumped from a third story, fell down on the ground, and he broke almost all possible bones. He was almost away for almost 1.5 years. When he came back, since last 2 years, he is always in the good books of almost everyone. He's
Awesome.
become project manager. He has become one of the greatest, an individual a customer would like. He's working with some UK projects, and it's amazing transformation.
Yes.
So from a not wanted person to absolutely wanted person across the organization.
This is a fantastic story. Yeah. And I can imagine the kind of pain, the trauma, the feeling of loss, abandonment this person would have gone through, and then he didn't give up, right? And then he realized that there's some kind of a glimmer of hope, and then how did it turn around? And I think he would have really had that mental strength to get him out of that kind of a mess or the sorry situation, right? Anyone would have gone forever from that state, right? But he came back, he bounced back, right? He literally bounced back from that situation. Amazing story, Vijay. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah. So there are great
like
examples.
Margaret is also also in Canada. She must have gone through a lot of these situations.
Yeah,
must have been resilient. Harsha, I've seen Harsha.
Yeah,
He must be
I
resilient.
am.
Joseph, yeah.
Yeah.
Margaret.
For sure, I am resilient only. Really, really shameless.
Awesome.
I don't take anything personally. Number one, number two,
No, say
Do not make shameless a synonym of resilience.
Shameless and what you call thick-skinned. Two very good adjectives.
It's a kind of armor that we provide, because you know what, if you are too thin skinned, even a smallest prick would hurt us, right?
Yeah.
So we have to, I mean, this topic is sometimes can go very deep, that's why I told a disclaimer that we'll try to not go into kind of a psychologist level. Then it can become a
But
very
it's all a combination of everything, right? You can't say, we'll not talk about this one. You have to touch all these things, because all those aspects actually make you who you are. It's
absolutely,
not just
absolutely.
the will to win. Like you have to be ambitious. I don't know how some people just go along with life like as if chalta hai, kya chalta hai? Like I cannot even think
that
of that.
becomes their attitude. The chalta attitude. That attitude is all pervasive everywhere. You can see that attitude in relationships, the way they work, the way they.
When I joined Unit Trust of India, that was my first job. I was assistant. And like in 2 years, I said, I'm getting out of this place. And I was telling myself, "Kaun idhar kaam karega, pagal jaisa?" I'd already made up my mind ki 2 saal ke andar I'm getting out of this.
So this is one attribute of resilient people. The moment they see that this environment is not conducive, I want to go to an environment where
I will retire now from here only. It's all in your mindset. Either you are or you're not, and you can't really take what you are. And everybody is good. I'm not saying it's a nice place. People who have lived nothing, like they are also happy, khush. So each his own.
Each is good, great in his own way, to say that.
Yeah, each his own. Nothing is good or bad. We cannot judge. No judging. But you know what? Ye bhi acha hai, ye bhi acha hai.
Good.
For the convenience of Joseph, Margaret, what she was saying is chalta hai in Indian context is whatever you do, it works. I hope I converted it.
For Joseph to translate that. So Joseph, what Margaret says that some people are kind of lackadaisical, put it that way. So they do not have any ambition or any aspiration. They live the life as it comes to them, rather than choosing to live the life they want to, right? To put it that way. But wonderful thoughts, wonderful information to share. So I'm going to, bring a kind of technical definition about resilience, even though we all know what is resilience, but then let's look at, how American Psychological Association define resilience. It's a process and outcome of successfully adapting to difficult or challenging life experiences. And as human beings, we all go through variety of life experiences, right? Some of them pleasant, some of them not so pleasant. So here we're going to talk about difficult or challenging life experience, especially through mental, through our mind, mental makeup, our mindset, attitude, our emotional well-being, how like we often talk about emotional intelligence, right? So now we look at the emotional aspects of managing the situation, and behavioral flexibility and adjustment to external and internal demands. So it's like kind of rowing the boat through rough waters, and then knowing the art of rowing, that there's a storm, but then there's a storm outside, there's no storm inside. So we know that, yeah, this too shall pass, and then I just need to just keep moving, and keep on plowing and keep on, whatever the best that I can do given the situation. So I really like this definition. Now, if I like to apply this to the workplace, right? In the workplace setting, sometimes we see similar kind of, analogous situation, like how an employee, employee's ability to manage anything from a tough workload. There are some days when you've got very angry and upset customer. There's a lot to be done, got a very stringent timelines. And on top of that, imagine if you have, we have got a very toxic environment, toxic colleagues and frustrating environment around us. So how are we going to keep our sanity in place? We can also easily go mad. But then being resilience is all about like how we can continue to work, continue to give our best despite the kind of circumstances that we are in. Right? So whatever that is in our control, we try to influence that. And anything else that is outside the sphere of our control, we really do not care that much or bother too much about it, right? Because we anyway cannot do anything about it apart from just responding to the external stimuli or responding to any demands, the external demand. So I really like this definition. That's why I thought let me share with the group of colleagues who are joining this webinar. So who are the resilient people? We talked about, like, there are some people who naturally are resilient, and then we can make out, that if we know them, if you've known their history, like the Vijay shared some of the examples, right? And the more we know about people and more about their background, their past experiences, their past life, and where are they coming from, we can make out, how they're made up, how their countenance is, what's their personality like, what's their general attitude. So there are certain attributes which we find common in resilient people, right? So first and foremost, what I see is they have a very positive image of the future, right? They, despite all the madness going around, whether it's a COVID, whether it's a Ukraine, Russia war going on, whether there's a high inflation, lot of political instability in the United Kingdom right now. But then, generally we see a positive image of the future. So I see many people around me, including in this group here, we see that we've got very positive image of the future. Like for example, I have a very positive image of the future for my country, for my friends, my colleagues. Other day I was just seeing some information, and I was trying to make some research, some points for my analysis, that how fast India is progressing. We just overtook UK as the fifth largest economy, and then by 2030 or 2035, we might, overtake Germany and become the fourth largest. And hopefully by 2050, we will be the second largest economy after China, and hopefully would have overtaken US also by that time. But generally speaking, about our lives in general, we keep positive outlook and visualize brighter days ahead. Today it could have been a bad day, but then we always get up in the morning and see the another day as a day with a lot of hope, dreams, and positive images about the future. Other thing I've noticed that successful people who have whom we have seen are like kind of resilient. They work on high degree of commitment, and they work on goals. Now, there's another definition of goals we often talk about called SMART goals. They work on these solid goals, and they have this desire to achieve those. They do not just have the goals for the sake of having it, like every year, January 1st, New Year Day, we have a resolution. This year I'm going to work on these goals. It's not like that. For them, they might have a daily goals. They might have goals about their fitness. They might have goals about their career. They might have goals about the personal life. So they are very committed to these goals, and they have this desire to achieve those goals, and they go about making those plans, execute those plans to move in the direction of achieving those goals. And they have a very empathetic and compassionate makeup of their mind. They have got great listening skills. They relate very well with everyone around them, whether they are family, extended family members, or their co-workers or colleagues at the office. And they really are kind of unaffected by what other people think about them, about their choices, about their value system, about the food that they eat, the way they make up, dress up, and all that. They really stay unaffected. They may choose to respond or not to respond, and they maintain healthy relationships, and they don't get stuck trapped in the rat race or the peer pressure. So they have their own view. They live life by their own design, what they would like to do in their life. So I have seen like these kind of attributes common in the resilient people. And last but not the least, they don't suffer from victimhood. Why it is me, why with me, and then I did not get this thing right. Maybe I don't have the right skills. I'm bad at this thing. So they don't get into this kind of a vicious cycle of negative thinking. Right? They focus their time and energy on changing things that they have control over. Like, for example, about my choices, about my own growth and development, right? How would I go about shaping up my future, my career? What are my personal development plans? What are my other plans in life? Uh, I would like to, grow my money or my investment and all those stuff. Everything around general management of managing their own life, managing their career, and when they get married, they look after their family very well. And they have got this nice worldview about themselves, about their society, about their country. Right? So these are the common attributes. Anyone like to add any further attributes you think are missing in this list here?
Yeah, so overall balance is needed, right?
Balance is needed.
And,
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
I know that always Rajan Das, you know that he was from, I think Rajan Das, he was, I think, very big Oracle. He lived in Bombay in Carter Road,
Hmm.
and he did everything. He was a vegetarian, non-smoker, non-drinker. And one thing he didn't do was he slept only four hours every night.
Oh, oh my
And
God.
one time, massive heart attack, dead at the age of 42.
Yes, yes. I think
It's
I
a real,
heard. Uh,
yeah, Rajan Das. No, you have to. So everybody said, he was like CEO of Oracle in Mumbai, lived in Carter Road. So what was it like? If you're going to be die at 42, you might as well not do anything. Like longevity is one thing. So it's very important for you to keep your health, wealth, everything together in one. Don't kill yourself
balance is there.
getting
You
there.
should not be having a kind of a tilting balance. You say you put so much weight on the other side scale and tilts against the
Yeah, exactly.
other
Like,
things.
yeah. So it's a balance. Yeah.
Has to be nice balance. Wonderful point. I appreciate that, Margaret. Yeah, yeah. So yes, it's important, right? Not like, for example, this young child. I don't know whatever whether you have been having any history around his chronic heart or something in genes and all that. But 42 is not the age to die, obviously, right? I mean, it's a very sad thing. And you might have just got onto the highway of your life, right? And then
No, he didn't have no genetic. He slept only 4 hours a night. This is very serious.
very
People
serious.
think, oh, I can do away with sleep. It will kill you. So you have to be like very health conscious too.
Absolutely.
It is only undoing was he used to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, sleep at like 3 o'clock, 1 o'clock, slept only 4 hours a day.
This is one of
Massive heart
the,
attack dead.
yeah, very, very important point. I'm going to talk about that later in the presentation. That, what are some of these activities that you need to do to build, have that kind of a balanced approach. Not kind of, go with a certain set of things, make it so dominant, and then you sacrifice other things, in the pursuit of, those things. So it's very important aspect of how we can make up our mental model or mental makeup. Very good point, but Pankaj, thanks, I appreciate that. So let's move on. So as I remember, I talked about we saw what is resilience. We saw some of the common attributes with resilient people, and now we're going to talk about some of these capabilities. Now this is cannot be a fixed list. There could be other capabilities, but whatever that struck me most when I was looking at various articles and my research, I found these 5 capabilities that resilient people need, or one need to become more resilient than what we are already. I'm going to talk about these five capabilities. Perspective is going to be the first one I'm going to talk about. Then emotional intelligence itself is a very big topic, but then emotional intelligence has a lot of bearing on how do we deal with the situation, with the people, how we choose to respond a particular way, choose not to react to people and to the situations, and understand our own emotions and understand and appreciate others' emotions as well. So this is going to be a big topic in itself. Purpose, values, and strength. That's kind of our value orientation. You know, when we define, when we say, what is my value definition, and what is most important to me and close to my heart, and do I live a purposeful life, right? Or as you said, Margaret, right? Chalta hai kind of attitude. And how do I do my own SWOT analysis? What are my strengths? Do I uh, design the plan for my life around my strengths, right? Or do I identify or build new strengths? Connections, we all are social animals. We have come through evolution as social animals. So on this planet, human beings are the most social beings. So how do we lean on our connections, internal and external networks? How do we relate with the people at large? Is also a very key important capability. And last but not the least, we are managing physical energy. So how we utilize our energy, as you said, right? Health, just sleeping for 5 hours and not ruin the beautiful life that has been given to us, gifted to us. So let's jump into the first one. So when we talk about like perspective, how's your worldview? How do you generally see? As I told, right, the people who are resilient generally have a positive outlook. They see the brighter side of the things. And in case if you have negative experiences, how do you reframe your negative experiences and find opportunity? Even in the midst of challenges, as Vijay also shared a wonderful example, right? I mean, you could be down and out, but then you still think you have the hope. You can pick yourself up. You can get out of that situation, and then you make the best out of circumstances that you are in. And you also have very clear distinction about what is within your, as we say from Mr. Covey, the seven habits of highly successful people. One of them is identifying what you can change, what you can influence and control, what is within your sphere of influence, right? And you know that you accept that, okay, these are certain things which which I can or cannot change. And then you only focus my efforts on what I can change or what I can, like don't try to boil the ocean every time. Are you solution driven or you get stuck in a problem? So how do you see the issues around you? You get stuck in the problem, or you are oriented to find solutions to the vexing problems. And are you able to receive negative information while not dwelling on it? This is I think one very important key aspect that I realize. Uh, See, we have to learn to accept a constructive criticism, right? And then art of receiving feedback, constructive feedback, especially, which is if it is given genuinely, it is for our benefit, for our learning and development. Right? So in the right way approach, with the right approach, we have to receive any adverse feedback and see that where I can improve upon it, rather than mulling over it or dwelling over it for days and hours. The good thing to do would be to analyze and then determine, do I need to change anything? Do I need to change my approach? Or if there is anything that is not really working, do I acquire new skills and something like that, right? So that's about perspective. About emotional intelligence, as I told earlier, you do acknowledge your own feelings and express them actively, right? And without sounding like melodramatic and all that. So acknowledge your own feelings. And yet today, maybe this thing did not click. My presentation was not good. Maybe my webinar was not good. I really could not present the topic very well. But then I acknowledge my own feelings and expressing them aptly, right? And the next would be, are you able to change your mood when you need to, right? We cannot always be positively oriented, right? There would be there are going to be some times, some moments, when we would like to kind of switch off and go into isolation, go into solitude, and try to ponder over, okay, why am I in this sad mood today? Maybe something happened I really didn't like. But then we need to get out of this rather than staying stuck there. Like, it should not become kind of a quicksand for you. You should immediately come out of it. And being human beings, we need to relate to the people, and then our abilities. Some people are really good at it, but then this is something which is a learnable skill. You can be sensitive to other people's emotions. How are you able to read people, even if they are not expressing themselves through their body language, through their expressions, you can make out whether they are right now, happy, sad, gloomy, upset, frustrated. All these words describe the various emotions and feelings. So, how you can able to express yourself and also able to acknowledge and sensitive to other people's emotions. And how intentional are you in providing support to others? It's like kind of a give and take in relationships. So when you expect support, it's also very natural that you also offer support whenever someone needs that kind of a help and support. Anything you'd like to add here to these two capabilities? Okay, good. Then I think we'll go to the next one. Purpose, values, and strengths. So for successful people, if you look around, if you look around yourself and see the people who you think that have had good careers, have been steadily growing, have been not just growing in terms of work area of responsibility, but also growing in terms of their knowledge, their experience, what they have to offer, and how they go about their life. Do they have a clear sense of purpose at work? And I would say at in life, they live life by design, not by accident. So they have clear sense of purpose at work. And do you know, so some people, they really know their strengths very well, and they play to their strengths. Eh, if I am really good at something, I would like to, I would not really like to use the word exploit, but then I would like to really harness that strength, right? If I'm really good at singing, or if I'm really good at music, or I'm really good at hockey or something like that, or at a workplace, I'm really good at management. I have natural inclination to be a very good project manager. So these are some of my strengths. And how can I make an opportunity to use them, right? And how can I apply this special skills or strength that I have to improve or increase my performance at the workplace? And do you have clear sense of your values in your moral compass? At the core of you, who you are, your own understanding of yourself. What are your values and what's your moral compass, right? So what do you live by? Do you think that this place where you're working is aligning very well with your value system, with your value orientation? And as you said, Margaret, I heard you, a few minutes back, you said that, is this a place I really like to work? Is this a place I look forward to building my career, right? Or do I expect any kind of a growth or any opportunity? I mean, because you see, it's completely cross purposes. You see a organization which is not open. They claim that they are XYZ, but when you look inside, you find that it's not what they claim they are, but they're showing some different attributes. Value system is not open. Uh, there's a lot of kind of workplace politics going on, and people do not have the degree of trust between themselves. People are not working together as one team. So if this is not synchronizing or resonating with your value system, I think then you better move out and find a place where you think that you have a better alignment with your values and system. Next is about connection, as I mentioned.
No.
Yeah,
One
Margaret.
thing I want to mention over here.
Yeah, go ahead.
The best part of moving is when you have everything good and you still want to move. Doesn't mean no, I want to move because actually, you shouldn't be moving just because I'm frustrated. I want to move. I want to see what else. I don't know what about India, but here they don't mind. You moved after 2 years, you can come back.
Yeah.
So they appreciate that you're gone. You've like learned something new, and they'll take you back. I don't know what's the culture in India now, but earlier, baap re, wapas aa raha hai, chodo usko. He didn't have loyalty. They will judge you so much. But so that's the thing. So you don't have to always leave when you
Like
when the going is good. Also, you leave just to
in
learn new skills.
early days, we used to see Arnold Schwarzenegger. They'll say, "No, I'll be back." Literally, I mean, when you talk about like comebacks, right? And then there are some people who say there are no comebacks in life. So good point again, Margaret. I think you're bringing very good perspective here. So how are you able to analyze? Uh, is this something that I can contribute? Can I play an active role here in bringing about the change? Can I be the changes? When you had this analysis, you figure out there are certain areas you think you can influence, you can change, you can talk about, you can talk to leadership and inject that change. But then when there are certain things when you realize that they've gone beyond that state of change or any kind of reclamation, then you may have those thoughts. Okay, fine. I mean, let's move on, right? I mean, this is something that it's not kind of quitting or giving up. It's kind of deciding to choose to do something else, which is much better, which is aligning with my value system or belief system, or maybe I'm getting a better break or a better opportunity, something like that. Yeah, talking about connections, you have a like strong and reliable network inside and outside, and I've seen, some people really leverage the strength of their connections, their network, and this can become great levers of success. And again, the right connections can propel you forward in your life, in your career. But you just need to know how you can, rely on this network. And are you able to meet your various needs? So there are some situations where we're looking for help, we're looking from guidance from someone. Like we often, when we are in a well-connected society, we always have elders around us. But now with the nuclear families, that support system has gone. So we try to reach out to counselors, therapists, and maybe our friend circle or other people whom we define as our well-wishers. So are we able to meet our various needs with these diverse support networks? We often have to. Sometimes we need to, in order to get the answers to some of the questions for those questions for which we are able to find answers ourselves, right? So we need to have this kind of support network, both internal as well as external, to say, that's why, COVID had kind of become very disruptive as far as this connections is concerned, because you kind of lost that physical touch with the people whom you've been working for so long, and now suddenly you don't see them. You can only see them on camera, or you see them on virtual collaboration platforms. So in real time and space, it had a different effect. But now, thanks that now people are moving back to offices. So yeah, we will have start having a lot of fun back in the office. Last, this is my favorite. I really like this one: managing physical energy. And how do I use my time? Right, everybody got 24 hours. No one gets an extra hour on this planet. So how do I utilize this time to keep myself fit? Not only physically but also emotionally, spiritually. So do I exercise regularly? So I'm very happy to share that. I'm happy that here in India the weather is becoming very pleasant now. We just got out of a very sultry, humid weather, monsoon, and then post monsoon it gets even worse with a lot of humidity around. I got back to my cycling, so I get up early in the bicycle 10 kilometers up. I take a walk for 30 minutes and then 10 kilometers back to home, and try to time it out and then see what are my metabolism records around that. Also, something that we try to really do, try to be really good at, is that take ample rest and get enough sleep. Because our brain is a machine, it also needs some rest. So good quality sleep is essential to maintain a good health. And Margaret, to your point, right? How can we have someone like just getting 5 hours of sleep, uh, and then kill yourself, kind of? And also, healthy healthy diet keeps you healthy, uh, physically as well as emotionally and spiritually. So you have to have healthy diet. You need to have healthy thinking, I would say. Uh, keep your thought process very healthy. Try to attract good positive things in your life. Good books, good friends, good entertainment, good music. So this is kind of relax, unwind yourself. You have been machine has been running non-stop. Uh, I don't have the statistical figures, but then there's one figure I read somewhere, is that 40,000 thoughts. That's rate that the mind is churning out these thoughts. So this processor needs to cool down, right? Like we switch off our laptop and machines, we often need to switch off. So getting good quality sleep, at least 7 hours, 6 to 7 hours minimum, is really really to keep ourselves in a very healthy state. And do also spend time for leisure, interest, develop certain interests or hobbies. Change the scene, like whenever we are watching television or any movie or whatever, you often get this break, right? There's an intermission, so just to change the scene. So get off your desk, get out of your regular monotonous routine and change the scene. Look out for the window, go and go to your terrace of your house or apartment, look the view around. Just looking at the view around will give you that kind of relaxation. Anything you'd like to add here? This capabilities, anything new you would like to suggest? So I'm sure we all do this thing in different measures. We have our own way of doing our exercises, looking at also the stage of life, right? When we are young, we kind of a little bit, I would not say like careless, but then we have a little bit of free way. But as we start aging, so we start realizing the importance of good health and exercises regularly. Fitness. If you have been in sports, if you have been into a sports, you kind of maintain that athletic makeup of your body. But when you get into kind of sedentary lifestyle, then you need to realize that keeping the body, your health fit is very essential, right? Otherwise, we may end up with different kind of complications later on, as we have seen, uh, as we see senior people around us. And I would not pray for anyone to have this kind of adverse condition, but then I would say that not only just physical, but also our mental makeup, our spiritual, emotional health is equally important. The way we continue to evolve our worldview as the things happen, evolve around us, so how we go about our lives and keep our sanity in place. I'll move on if there are no thoughts or any questions on these capabilities. So then question comes in, how can I build my personal resilience? I have that question that, I really would really like to be a very resilient person. I know that I cannot predict that everything that's going to happen is going to be very positive from health, from now on in my life or in my career or with me, with my family. There are going to be some bad days on it. So how can I, keep my mental model in place, mental makeup, and don't lose my peace of my mind. So then I found out that that it's all about like kind of maximizing my brain power. So I just have to indulge or engage in three activities. So I have to train the brain. Brain is a learning machine. So it is continuously learning, continuously. If you go into um, neurology, we see that there are neurotransmitters in our brain, right? So they make new connections whenever we develop a new activity or we develop a new insight. Right? It builds every time it builds new connections, and that's like training the brain. You are training the brain to develop new perspectives, new images. So there are certain exercises if we do, we can train the brain. So we're gonna tell our brain, okay, this is what is important, this is what matters, and I care about these things the most. So that's about like training the brain. Then energizing the brain. How can I energize the brain? Some people I see that they they play puzzles, they try to crack puzzles or engage in some exercises that will energize the brain. How can, because the brain is also something that gets tired when you can see you had a rough day or a hard day, so become kind of mental fog. You're not able to think clearly. You're not able to judge or assess the situation around. So you need to take a break. So how we can recharge. Every once in a while we recharge our mobile subscriptions. Every once in a while we recharge our mobile batteries, our laptop batteries. So that's why brain also needs to recharge energies. And that's where I come to the third point is recharge the brain. Kind of unwind and then reset, and then when you start your next day, it's kind of fresh. You got 100% charge. You start the day with 100% charge on your battery. Any questions or any suggestions, any thoughts on this? Because I'm going to talk about each of these things in the next slides. Okay, so let's say train the brain. So brain is something that what you feed it, it will take that, it will develop that kind of a view for it. It will develop that kind of a image, show that kind of. So if you think negative, it will start showing everything negative around. You see that okay, people are negative, the whole world is in mess, my country is in mess, and all that. You have a negative view of everything. So if you have that positive attitude, you try to always see the silver lining in every dark cloud. You have that positive attitude. So So that goes straight into the brain, and it gets into your subconscious, and then that becomes your general perception. So every time you have this thought process, you always have that same kind of perspective, no matter what the situation. And I also seen that having that deep sense of gratitude, be very thankful. So you'd never have a complete loss, right? Even let's say people say they have lost their businesses, they've had major financial losses, or they had to take a break in their career, or they lost their jobs due to retrenchment or bad economic outlook. But then you again have that gratitude. You got a wonderful life, got good family around you, got good circle of friends. So always have that sense of gratitude that you pray to whoever you pray to, your God or Almighty. That sense of gratitude that I'm thankful for what I have in my life. Uh, communicate is your ability to express the kind of language that you speak, with everyone, not only just your colleagues, but with your family. So it should be same the way you communicate with your colleagues, with your co-workers, same way you work with uh, talk to your family members, your immediate or extended family. So your ability to express and communicate is this is how it goes to the brain as a signal, and that becomes your way of communication with everyone else. Again, relate to the positive attitude, realistic optimism. So you're not optimist just for the sake of. In a way, you should be still having good sense of difficulties in your life. You lost a job, but you got the EMI to pay. So you should be realistic. You cannot simply close your eyes and say that no, God is going to take care of you, or someone else is going to take care of your situation. So you have to be realistic. So realistic optimism is that you have a positive view, but at the same time you know that okay, these are some of the challenges, difficulties that I have. I need to do something about it, right? So that it doesn't get worse for me. So you have to be realistic in your, and time and again, as I was saying, pause and reflect. So don't just rush into the things. If you got a feedback, don't immediately start working on your plan. Or if someone has told you anything, so try to get out of the reactive mode. So take a step back, pause, reflect, and then respond, or determine what you need to do next. I've seen people, they make more mistakes when they're trying to hurry into the things. So stop that habit there. And again, keep perspective. Uh, when I say keep perspective is about again looking at having a very objective view of the things around. Is this thing really that bad? This situation right now in UK, within 45 days, the prime minister had to step down, and two ministers had resigned. Is it really that bad? Yeah, but we are very realistic. We know that the prices are increasing, the interest rates are increasing, energy costs are increasing. But is it gonna keep going forever? There's definitely government is going to do something about it. Some steps will be taken. Now, what is in my sphere of control? What I can control? Can I control my consumption? Can I find some alternate ways, or do I have some other different budgetary allocations which I can lean on or can depend upon? Same thing. When you're when you're trying to choose the optimum path with whatever options that you have available given the resources that you have. So in this circle of all these attributes, you are training your brain. You're making up your mental model, right? So if you do all of these things and something more, now this is not the complete list, but if you engage in these kind of activities, what you're doing is actually you're developing your mental model, your mental makeup. You're actually evolving into a more resilient person. Any thoughts on this? Because these are kind of English, but there could be a lot of technical details behind each of these circles, which I would not like to really elaborate more than what is sufficient required, just to elucidate the concept here that yes, brain is a learning machine. It can be trained. The way you talk, the way you will think, that's exactly the brain is going to depict that picture to you. Right? So it's all kind of very beautiful life, beautiful, wonderful future ahead, or it's all dark and all that. So I'll slightly take a pause here. Okay, all right, then I think let's go to the next one. Energize the brain. So when you talk about energizing the brain, it's again like kind of feeding what kind of information we are kind of feeding. So in computer, there is a term called garbage in, garbage out, right? So same thing with the brain, that whatever that you feed in, it's gonna build that kind of an image for you, that kind of a worldview or the perspective of the world, the life, the society, and everything that you are surrounded with. So seek positive energy. Get into circle of friends who you think that are themselves positive. They have a lot to offer. You can learn from them. You can develop some new perspective by mingling with these. So whatever sources, the stimuli that we get, the friend, the entertainment, the books, the music, everything. Try to seek positive energy. Avoid energy drainers. Don't engage in activities which drains you, like mentally, physically, emotionally, something that you really don't like doing. Or there are certain people who also, like, sometimes suck up your energy. So if it is possible, try to avoid that and avoid energy drainers and seek positive energy. Drink healthy fluids. The best fluid in the world is water. So the importance of water cannot be overemphasized. So as much as you can, any literature you read, they say at least 6 to 7 liters you have to gulp down daily, right? Not at one shot, but yeah, that's the daily dose that you. So apart from that, drink healthy fluids like fresh, tender coconut water or any other drink that comes to your mind, right? Right. That keeps your system healthy. I got to know that tender coconut water has certain chemical composition mix up that really keeps your metabolism at the cell level. The cell is also a factory. A lot of fluids are exchanged incoming to the cell and then going out of the cells in our body. So these kind of fluids they keep your metabolism very healthy, right? And then that has an effect on your entire system. How your entire system works, including your thoughts, your thought process, your emotions. Everything is interconnected. So diet and good healthy fluid drink is all important. Look after yourself. We just got this one permanent apartment to live in. We cannot, check out and check in at our will. We just check in at the time of birth and we check out once in our lifetime, and that's the end of the story. So for the rest, in between these two events, we just continue to live in this apartment. So we have to maintain this apartment ourselves. We have to look after it. We don't have to indulge into alcohol or any other abuses. This one body we got, so we have to maintain, look after ourselves physically, and then same thing we have to do with the way how we keep ourselves healthy emotionally, and by attracting positive energy or developing good positive habits. When you talk about healthy diet, cut the sugar and caffeine, because these substance does not really help you have build that kind of makeup that you're looking for to build resilience. These substances may give short-term kind of kick, you know, that kind of rev in the engine, but then on long-term basis, they have negative consequences on your health. Right? So try to cut down on that. Though some amount of, I would say, glucose, not sugar. So glucose is required for the brain to function. So that comes from various types of healthy diets as well. And get moving. So yeah, you may stop for a moment, pause and reflect, but then continue to move. We need to continue our journey, get moving. So get up. If something has happened, something is broken, yeah, see if you could do something about it, try to fix it, and just move on. So this is how you try to energize the brain. So we got to train the brain, energize the brain, and recharge the brain, right? So yeah, break the scene, as I said, right? Break the scene, break the monotony. Cannot be workaholic, right? 6 to 9. Take breaks. Just take your eyes off from your screen and look around the window, look at the scene, look at the kids playing in the park, right? Look at the people, at a busy marketplace. So change the scene. Here I'm very fortunate. Outside my window, it's all green. So every day I get to see green fields and a lot of cattle, buffaloes grazing, and that's a very pleasant sight compared to staying in the Manhattan when you're surrounded by all the skyscrapers and concrete jungle all around. Social interaction, yeah, meeting frequently your circle of friends, your associates. So other day I was saying that when I'm going for cycling, I'm going to a very popular destination where a lot of people come for morning walk. Now, so started building up some new friends. and we often meet at a spot and then go for a tea, coffee, and then we kind of go our places from there. Humor, how many of you believe in a good sense of humor? What's your definition of humor or sense of humor? Do you think humor is important in our life? Hello, can you hear me? Yes, no. Yeah.
The question again, please.
Joseph, you see, I mentioned here humor. I was asking, what what is the importance of humor in our life?
I think human is creating fun out of every situation, making every situation more lively that it should have been ordinarily if we are just too serious about it.
Yeah.
It takes extra effort to even to frank your face, but less nerves, energy to smile.
Yeah.
And smile is contagious. So creating an atmosphere where you can easily make fun of the situation creatively, it matters. And that's what humor is all about.
Absolutely, absolutely. Wonderful, Joseph. Right? Smile is indeed infectious, right? Yeah. So you see someone smiling, you also tend to smile. And how can we forget this famous quote? I don't know whether it is from Shakespeare or from some other. You need to beg my pardon for that. It says that you laugh and the whole world laughs with you. If you cry alone. Right? So laughter is the best medicine. That's another quote we often heard. It. A laughter a day keeps the doctor away. Sorry, an apple a day keeps the doctor away, but I just transform it. The more you laugh, the whole world laughs with you. But if you cry alone. So self-humor is something like not try to underestimate the importance of the situation, but you can't also make the things so serious. You can't always live the life as if every day is a serious affair. Sorry, Joseph, you're saying something?
The question again, please.
No, I think I cut you there. Were you saying something, Joseph?
No, I'm not saying anything.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Yeah, so humor is equally important. Again, it helps you keep a healthy state of mind. You try to have a very objective, good perspective of the way things are unfolding in front of you. So people who generally have good sense of humor or also have that great degree of resilience. So you can really correlate. Often you meet people who have this great sense of humor, and you would notice that they are also like kind of resilient, more or less resilient than others that you see around them. And yes, sleep. Taking a good sleep every night is it's very important for our health. This will help us recharge, and start the next day fresh with 100% battery power. All right. Any further thoughts from anyone? We'll go to the next one. So I'm just trying to share this growth mindset model. This is from Carol Dweck, a very renowned uh, authority on this subject. She is a psychologist and was at Stanford University. So this growth model, background is useful to refer to when we consider resilience and mindset, right? So what we should be looking at is every human nature, human tendency to keep in comfort zone because we feel very safe. We have this sense of control. I can lead my life. I know how to control myself, situation around me, my career, my life in general, my family, and all that stuff, right? But then that's not where we really can grow ourselves, right? So we have to step out of the comfort zone, as we often say, right? But then from the journey from the comfort zone to the growth zone, it's like crossing the chasm, and we have to overcome the fear zone and the learning zone. So we step out. When we try to step out, we often have seen heard people, making excuses. Oh, I'm not so good at it. This is not my cup of tea. I have never done this thing. Or generally, people kind of lack self confidence, Like they have the self-doubts. Yes, occasionally we all have that feeling of, but then we need to come out of this thing, right? So we have to, kind of get out of this fear zone and then get into the learning zone. Okay, all right, maybe I'm not so good at this thing, but is this something that I can learn? Can I become good at? If I can do regular practice, I can acquire this new skill, and I can expand my horizon. I can become a much capable, more competent person, and I can vie for higher responsibilities, more opportunities to grow myself in my career. So then you also build that inherent capability to deal with challenges and problems. And how do I generally deal with the adverse situations that come time and again? So I build that kind of capability, and then finally I move over to the growth zone. So our focus, our action should be, to aspire to stay in the growth zone. This is where I find true purpose, the meaning of my life, and I can have a goal-oriented approach. I always have something to go after. I have some aspirations, or as Margaret was saying, some people are ambitious, some people are not. So try to combine ambition and aspiration, and go with a goal-oriented approach. Set some new goals, not just like fancy resolutions on January 1st every year, but realistic goals that you can, and then try to achieve, or as we say, conquer those objectives. So this model will really help you identify, how we can step out of your comfort zone, get over your doubts, your apprehensions, and try to overcome some of these mental challenges about self-doubt, self-injected doubts about your own assessment, about your own capabilities, acquire new skills, develop new skills, competencies, and get into the growth zone. All right, so I'm at the last slide. I hope you enjoyed today's session. Everyone, I would say that my understanding is that all of us have some degree of resilience. It's basically our ability to withstand, adapt, and bounce back from stress and adversity. We might have had been through some adverse situation, but then we have come out of it, right? Each one of us, I'm sure. So it's kind of building a robust attitude in the face of challenging and threatening events. Like we are constantly in the VUCA world, so we have to look after ourselves, train the brain and energize the brain, recharge the brain. So we continue to grow stronger emotionally, physically, by adopting good habits, healthy habits. And then do not have this habit of, dwelling on the failures and mull over it and then ruminate over it. Rather, get moving and move forward, acknowledge the situation, learn from the mistakes, and move on. That's it. Thanks, everyone. There's some of these good references. Uh, a good book from Chris Johnston, 7 Ways to Build Resilience, and another one from Angela Duckworth titled Grit, The Power of Passion and Perseverance, and a couple of more resources here. So before we end the call, anyone would like to share anything? I hope you enjoyed this today's session. Thanks for joining. Thank you. Thanks, Joseph. Thanks, Margaret. Thanks, Jaskirat. See you in the next webinar session. Take care.